Evening, evening, Julie. Evening, Alison. Evening, Wenche. Move this out of the way. Just give it a couple of minutes for some of the others to join. If any of you saw my first post about half an hour ago, I still can't find this little bag of embellishments, and I don't know where else to look. And it's the tidiest my desk has been in months. So I might have to have a rethink on a few things. See, people say tidy workspace is good for you. I say no, it's not, because you can't find anything. So, give it a start. So last week we got as far as how to put your charm hanger on if you'd forgotten to put your hole through your spine before you put your inside bits in, which I did that deliberately so that I could show you how to do that. And then the homework for last week was to put the pages, no, your homework for last week was to decorate the inside and the outside of the pages. And as you can tell, yeah, I've not done that. But in my defence, I've had about 5 hospital visits and 2 telephone appointments since then. So that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. I hope it does, Julie, because it's for the craft weekend in October. And I used it yesterday, which is more frustrating. So I know it can't have gone that far. So I'm just cutting off the corners of the hinges just to make sure that the pages go nice and flat. I normally do this before I stick it in because it's easier, but I don't know why I didn't. So I'm going to start at the back. So I'm going to flip my pages over. Hopefully got another bottle of glue because it's not a full one. So I'm just going to hold this back, pop some glue on this hinge here, and then bend it over. So this is the back page. So I'm just going to open that up slightly and feed that over the hinge and then just hold that in place. And do exactly the same on this next one. Oops. Preferably without getting glue everywhere, but never mind. And just burnish that down with your fingers just till the glue grabs, and then just fold it back. And then again, I'm gonna pop this on here. And again, just feed that over. Whilst you're putting your pages down, just make sure they all line up at the bottom here and at the top, so that they're all in alignment with each other and you've not got pages going up and down. I'm going a bit on the wonk. So just carry on with this. Slide that over. And again, just burnish that down. Good evening to those of you that have just joined us. And just putting the pages in at the moment. Hope everyone's enjoying the cooler weather. Although we've not had as much rain as they've said we were going to get. But whether that's to come overnight or tomorrow, I'm not sure. Again, just hold that in place. And flip it over. Just make sure you've got a good adhesion there. So even with a tidy desk, I lose the lid to my glue. I'm going to just flip that way. Make sure it lines up with all the others. And burnish that down. So that's our pages in the book. Now, in the kit, you also had the decorative chips, the ephemera, and the rub-ons. Now, these rub-ons are really good. I was chatting with a crafty friend on Monday when we went out for lunch, and we were talking about the rub-ons of old, where they were really tough and they didn't stick, and yeah, they just weren't great. But these, they are so much better than what they used to be. So what I'm going to do, what I haven't done yet that I need to do, is do the photo mats that go inside this part. Now, because everything is, I don't know whether to do the photo mat. I'm going to do the photo mats in white because I can, and because I've got white card here, just to make it easier for you to see. So in these front sections, let me just move this over. There we go, my screen's gone a bit dark. Don't know about you, but I have, my computer has a strange setting, and when it goes a certain darkness outside, it sends my screen dark, which is a bit odd. So the first lot of photo mats we're going to do are going to be for this section here. So yeah, I'm going to do them at, this isn't a card, inches by 6 inches, and they will just slide in there and leave a small amount sticking out, so you'll be able to see that past the side of your page. So we're looking at 5 by 6 inches, and you need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 photo mats. Let's just do this one again. 5 by 6, so that just slides in the back there. And this is on top of the photo mats that we've got in our pockets and things like that. And then we need another photo mat. Double check these sizes. Yeah. So for these ones, we're doing long and skinny ones. And we're doing them at 4 1/4. By 7. So these are going to go inside, whoops, that pocket there. Yeah, it is only 4 1/4. I cut that at 4 1/2. But if you cut it too big, don't worry, you can always trim it down. So what you'll get is an effect like that. So you've got your stepped pockets, if you like. Let me show. So you'll see your page, your photo mat or your photo, the end of this one and the end of this photo. So you need 6 at 4 1/2 by 7 1/2 to give you that. Okay. 4 1/4 by 7 1/2. So you need 6 of the bigger ones to go in the edges of your pockets, and 12 of the smaller 5 by 6 photo mats to go in the end of your pockets. Now I was saying about these rub-ons. There it is. They do come with, oh no, these ones don't. Somebody was saying they don't always come with lolly sticks. They don't. But if you've got your ball tool, let me find the right one, you can actually do it with your ball tool or with a bone folder, burnishing tool, call it what you like. So on here I wanted to put, let's have a look. Still haven't found an easy way of getting into cellophane bags with paper, with staples in, without getting my fingers caught on them. So if we lift that up, with this one, I took out one of the books of music, and then I just, oh, excuse me, croaky again. Pop some glue along the bottom edge and up this side, And if you pop that there, once the glue has set and dried, it's a little tuck spot to put ephemera, more photos. If you've been, say this music book was for if you've been to a concert, you could put your concert tickets in there and things like that. And with these bits of ephemera, I'll just get a couple out. I don't know how well this shows, but they've got like a gold sheen on them. I don't know if that's going to show up on screen. So they are really pretty. I'll see if it'll do it on a different one. So you can do, and you can do that with any of these tickets and ephemera. So to show you the rub-ons, now what I do when I'm using these rub-ons particularly, they are quite delicate. So I'm going to put this rose along the side here, but what I'm going to do is cut around the back and cut the backing paper away as well, because I found they are quite sticky, and if you get them caught on something else it will stick to it. So I just lie that down, and then with my ball tool, just in little circles, just rub over it. And if you've done it in circles, it does tend to stick better. Make sure you go all the way down the stem of the flower, and then if you find, just gently lift it with your finger, and as it comes away you'll be able to see it goes clear. I don't know if it's, so as you lift it, it goes opaque. And if you do it this way, like that bit didn't quite stick, and then if you do it gently, if there is a little bit that doesn't stick, lay it back down and just pull it bit by bit. By doing it that way, you make sure it's all stuck before you take the backing sheet off, because if you take the backing sheet off and then look at it and it's got bits that are missing, it's really, really hard to line it back up again. And yes, that is the voice of experience. I'm just going to pop these back in here. And then again with these, I quite like them. I don't need anything on there. But this is looking a bit plain. So I'm going to use I think for this I'm going to use the not fairies, angels. And what I'm going to do is have it so the angels are facing inwards. So they're not looking at each other, but they are facing inwards like that. And again, take it off the backing sheet. Just hover it over to decide where you want it. Make sure it's straight. Gently rub it down with your finger, then it gets a little bit of adhesion. And then again, just, if you go over it in circles, you tend to get most of it the first time. So just, and then if you flick from one end and very gently, again, pull it back, and you'll be able to see if there's anything left on the sheet. And that's come off in one. So just do this next one. So I'm going to do that. It's about the same position. And again, just using your ball tool. Try and use as big a ball tool as you've got. Obviously, if you use a very fine ball tool, you then have you could score the paper underneath, which is not what we're going for. And then the hard bit is trying to find the clear acetate. There's just two little bits up there. And again, so that is literally as easy as those rub-ons go on. That is actually part of the paper. I just looked and I thought, oh, no, that is part of the papers. So for these, I'm going to use this rose and pop that in the middle there. I think, good grief, making memories alphabet rub-ons, that takes me back. The only other rub-ons, 49 and Market rub-ons are really, really good as well. I do like their rub-ons, and they are very good. I tried some the other day. And I can't remember who they were by, and they were just rubbish. Arden Creative, there's another one whose rub-ons are good quality. So you work through your book like on. Okay, I found a piece that I've not decorated. You'll find as you're making books like this, especially if they've got lots of flips, flaps, foldy out bits, tucky in bits, no matter how many times you go through your book, you can still miss bits that you want to decorate. Now again, on here, I wouldn't put too much on the inside of this with your ephemera and things like that, just because it's going to get a little bit bulky. So I would possibly put that inside, but I wouldn't layer anything up, just because you don't want it too bulky. Yeah, I love 49 and Market. Well, yeah, I was going to say I love 49 and Market rub-ons, but I love 49 and Market products. So again, I'm just going to pop a bit of glue on the back of that one. I'm going to stick that down there. So you fold that over, that down. So you don't want too much bulk in there. And I must remember to put some paper on the back of there. Again, you'll have your photo mat in there, your photo mat in there. Now on these, again, you can, obviously found 2 more bits that I've not put paper on. You can just stick your photographs directly on there, or you can put a photo mat in, because once you've pulled that up and that down, it will keep it in place. Just wish that, oh, you and me both, Julie. I think it seems to, it might not be, but it feels like there is a lot of companies trying to bring 3 or 4 products out every month, or 3 or 4 product rate lines out. And I don't know about anybody else, but I can't use it up as fast as they bring them out, and people don't have the money. I saw I think it was on Hobby Maker yesterday, they were doing a, I can't remember what brand it was, but they were doing a collection, and to buy it all, because obviously you needed everything, it was something like £225, and they're coming out every month. And I don't know anybody else that can, apart from any lottery winners, I don't know who can keep up with that. It does seem a little, I know Kaisercraft used to bring out 2 collections a quarter, and then they went more often and more collections, and people can't keep up with it. So with this one, what I will do, ink up the edges. I've had to use a new foam pad because my old one fell to pieces, and because it's not got a lot of ink on it already, it's not very juicy at the minute. I'll do them both while I'm at the same time. Now, again, with this one, I'm going to just pop glue along the side there and the bottom. And I'm going to pop that there. Just hold that in place. So now, once that's held in place, once you've got your photo, again, you can, like I say, you can put your photograph on there or not, but once you've got a small, and that's 3x4, that will just sit in that pocket and keep the flaps shut. Or you could do it that way, but just by adding that on the sides is a little tuck spot, and we'll keep that in place. So I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. Make sure I put the glue on the right side. So it's going to go around about there. Last 49 and Market, I can't remember what the last 49 and Market release was. Yeah, I do like Vicky Booten stuff, but again, we can't all have everything, even if we want it. Hi Diana. So again, those 2 little tuck spots with your 3x4 photo mats will keep that flap shut. Okay, take them out, otherwise they're going to end up stuck in there. And again with this, oops, although I've decorated, oh, I can't see it all there, move that across. Although I've decorated every single page on both sides, you can just stick your photographs on there. Put your photographs on if you've got any tickets. Yes, I remember the coffee themed one and the beach one. You can just stick them on there. If you wanted to use a tuck spot like that, you could do, just again, popping your glue down the side and along the bottom, and then you've got other things to tuck behind them. I'm sure you don't need me to show you how to do that one. Now on here, does anybody know what musical instrument that is? Because I know it's not a guitar, but I don't know what it is. Because that's the violin, not a guitar. So again, I'm just going to ink the edges up on this. Yeah, I like Vicky's Halloween one, but when my boys were younger, certainly when I was younger, Halloween wasn't such a big, there wasn't such a big fuss made of it, certainly over here where I live. So I don't have very many Halloween photographs, and I've been looking for a autumn collection that's not Halloween, which I have got one now, but I really struggled with that because a lot of the designers have gone for the Halloween rather than just autumn. So I'm going to just stick that there. And just a quick sneak peek, I did manage to get, as I say, an autumnal collection for the crafty weekend at the end of October, and I've had hubby working because I can't be having him doing nothing, and we've actually got, if I can get them in, I've got him to 3D print me some pumpkins. So they are quite thin. They're not really chunky, because if they're going to go on your scrapbook layouts or in your books or whatever, you don't want them to be too bulky. See if I bring that up. Oh. So yeah, we'll have those as well to go with the scrapbook layouts that I've been working hard on. So that's a sneaky peek of something that's coming soon. So as I say, you've got lots of different things you can pop on here. If you don't want to do them as tuck spots. Yeah, I like the Halloween. Oh, hello, Helen. Nice to see you. I like the Halloween colours, but maybe it's just because I've not got young kids. And I guess at 25 and 30, if I ask them to dress up for Halloween, they might tell me where to go. So I'm going to stick that on there. Like that. I'm not getting that stuck. Now for the front, as well as some of these, the ephemera, I'm going to put, I want to put, or do I? I was going to put the piano on the front of the book. But also I want to use the, yeah, I have to, if I'm designing things or coming up with ideas that I want 3D printed, he wants to know how big I want things at, but he works in millimetres, I work in inches. And yeah, I don't know if you've seen Julie when we were down in Bristol at Twilight earlier in the year. Julie Billingham, we were talking about different things we wanted, and I said, oh, I'll get him to 3D print me one. So I sent him a message, can't find the spare, that said, I want a signpost printing like the one from, if any of you have been to Land's End, where they do the photograph at Land's End with the signpost. And that's what he come up with. But now he keeps complaining because I'm not paying him. Says he needs paying for all his work. So yeah, I've just written on that with a, what pen is it? A Sharpie. Obviously the finer one's better than the big blodgy one. But yeah, so I've got them now as well, which Julie was quite excited about. Now with these chippies, they are quite fine, but they are really, really good. Helen missed out on this one. Whoa, you've nearly finished the field notes. That's really good. I want to use this, and they're just held in with little tiny tips. So if I just move that round. But with these, oh, you'll have lots of pictures then, Julie. I find they don't show up very well. So I used, I'll do them all at the same time. And I'm going to use that one. So you can colour these with your inks. You can go, I'm turning this over because I don't want it, you can go direct with your ink pad, which gives you a slightly mottled effect. But she says, used, see how many of you remember these? I've actually got the little pots of paints. These are twinkling H2Os, so that's back in the day. So just load it up on a water brush, and then over the top, you can just use a regular paintbrush and paint on it, but for the purposes of doing this is quicker, and I don't have to run the risk of having a pot of water on my desk. Not that I'm clumsy, but I'm not going to tempt fate. And it is really quick and easy to do these. I don't know if twinkling H2Os are still going. If they're not, because these must be, and I've used them quite a lot, but there's a lot left in them. I bet these are going on for about 15 years old. Creative Expressions do them, and instead of buying the individual pots now, they come in a tray with about 12 or 15 colours in them, which is quite handy. So I'm going to leave that one to dry for a minute. And this is just a regular water brush that has water in the barrel. And obviously the thicker you do it, the darker it goes on. The more water you put in, the lighter the colour is on here. Oh, squeezed a bit too hard. But it does give you a really, really good coverage. I have tried using alcohol markers. They do work, but I found I had to work quite hard on them and go over it a few times. But I quite like do it and it'll be done. Don't like repeating. So again, just going to go over the top, and because they're a sort like a papery, fibrous-y material, they do dry. It does soak up the paint quite quickly, so they do dry quite quickly as well. Oh, you're welcome to do as many albums as you want, Julie. I mean, I know there's things like housework, but my theory is if you craft today, the housework will still be there tomorrow. It doesn't go away, so, you know. And I think all us ladies do enough housework, so I think we deserve to treat ourselves. Ooh. So that's almost dried now. And the thing with the twinkling H2Os, again, it's not a sparkle, it's more of a shimmer on it. Let me just put my lid back on. So it's not a flat brown like you would get with other paints or alcohol markers. It does have a shimmer to it. So where's my piano? Let me just shove a piece over all my paint. So I want the piano on there, but I also want the musical notes on it. I might have it coming out like that, and then pop the music going up there. And this is where I can faff for hours. You've got lots of musical notes, a violin with a bit of a cello, quite like that blue musical note as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to raise the piano up. So I'm sure a lot of you know, I have a bag of grey board offcuts. So when I've made the covers, the spine, and there's a bit more left up, I just chop it up into pieces. And then they're ready to go. Has anybody had all this rain that they're supposed to be getting today? Because I've not. I think we had a, well, a trickle, shall we say. Just need more hours in the day, yeah, definitely. So we'll wait till those have wrapped. So what I'm going to do, if I flick that over, and so it lies flat, I'm just going to get my scissors and chop it there. Cut it there round to there. So that will now lie flat. So I'm going to pop the glue on there and then just dot it around, because this is dry clear glue anyway, and then make sure you've got plenty of glue on your grey board. So now that will sit like that. And again, I'm just going to ink up the edges of this. Yeah, definitely need more hours in the day. So, and now I'm going to pop that just overlapping where the border is. And again, I'm going to pop the musical note, I don't know what you call it, music. I'm going to stick this up here. And again, just hold that in place. And then I'm just going to use some of the ephemera. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop, no it's not, so I'm going to start, ink up the edges. I'm going to start with this one flat and pop it, oops, under there. And again, just hold it in place. And then with this one, I'm just going to build that up slightly. Again, we're going to pop the grey board on the back. When I was talking with a friend on Monday, we were talking about this, and I know some people prefer foam tape and foam pads, and I guess if you only do paper crafting, that would be what you would have. But I certainly think people that do bookmaking will have lots of odds and ends of grey board, and to me it makes sense to use what you've got. I know I spoke to somebody the other week who tried to tell me that mini bookmaking and scrapbooking was a waste of paper and it was not good for the environment, which I was a bit confused about. But I know when I've done things like this, you make your book. If you have any full sheets of paper left, you can then use them. Even if you've not, if you've only got half sheets, you can make them into scrapbook layouts. And then once you've finished your scrapbook layouts, if there are any little bits left, they get used in making cards. And if there's anything left after that, I have a carrier bag at the side of my desk that once I've got that far, or I've used as much as I can from the collection and I don't want to see any more of it, it goes in this carrier bag, and when it's full I take it to the local school nursery. I did also at one point take it to the children's wards at the hospitals, because those kids that have been stuck in there for sometimes weeks on end, even if they're just chopping bits up and just chopping it up and sticking it down and getting messy with glue, and it's got to be a relief for them. I have, well, oh gosh, must be about 14 years ago, a very good friend of mine, her daughter was in Manchester Children's Hospital for, I think she was in for 8 weeks, might have actually been more. And I took her some crafting stuff down when she was starting to feel a bit better. She was in intensive care for about 3 weeks, and she loved it. And in the end, she had other people on the ward that could get up and move, were coming over to see what she was doing, and oh, can I have a go? And yeah, they had an absolute ball, and my stock was severely depleted when she came out. But yeah, I think it's such a good, and it's such a good way of getting children involved in crafting as well, because it's not done with a screen, which, you know, each to their own, but I think less screen time is beneficial for kids, shall we say. So again, I'm just going to pop some glue on the back here and pop it on there. You do get quite a lot of these musical notes. The only problem I have with them is they're a little bit fiddly, and I tend to get a lot of glue on my hands rather than the back of there. So again, you can just pop the musical notes along the top, you know, wherever you want. Okay, so that's the front of the book, and obviously you've got other stuff, you can use it, you can do it. Now, what else I like to do, maybe not with those little ones, but with things like this, with your ephemera, you can actually maybe not. Use these, and if you've got a small hole punch a tiny hole in there, and I've tidied. Never tidy up when you're in the middle of something. So if I get my, where's it gone, crocodile. If I line this up, it's really hard to show you this on screen. I'm do a tiny hole there. What you can do then is, I would normally use ribbon, but I've tidied up, so I've no idea where it's gone. Pop that through your charm hanger. And then just make a loop and make it into a knot. And then that will just hang at the side of your book. So you can do that with any of them. You could do it with the, I'm really no good at musical instruments. I think that's a trumpet. You could do it with one of the hearts, punch a hole in the heart and thread it on and pop it. Like I say, it's better on ribbon, and pop your heart down there. Put your heart on. So again, quite straightforward. Pretend this is ribbon. And again, we're just going to thread that through the charm hanger. Pull it up and tie it in a knot. Like I say, I would normally do that with ribbon, and they will just hang down on the side of your book. Okay, so I'm just going to have a quick tidy up because I can't be doing with work. So there's lots of different bits of ephemera that you can use. I would possibly put one of the piano keys along that side, or you could put it there and again use it as a tuck spot. Again, you could pop it there, or you could pop it down there. There's lots of different ways of using the ephemera. Oops. We just have a quick tidy up, and then you've still got these chippies, and what you can do is cut this up if you want something to be a little bit lifted but not as thick as your grey board. You can just use these bits up, cover those, or use those instead of your foam pads. So let me just have a quick tidy up. I will end up using all these throughout the book, just popping them on some of the pages, lifting things up. I'll use the rest of the rub-ons. So I will finish the book off and put a video up of the finished item. I forgot I did that one as well. I'll stick that somewhere. So it just shows you what you can do with, because when I first saw these chippies, I did think they were a bit pale and uninteresting, but you can do a lot with them. Like I say, you can colour them with your alcohol inks. I found maybe it was mine that are not as juicy as they could be. You can use your ink pads, you can use your inks. I used a paint. I'm sure as crafters we've got lots and lots of things that we could use to colour them with. Now, I was going to start a new book next week. I've got it started. So yeah, but I've not managed to finish it yet. And if I'm being honest, I've had quite a few hospital appointments where they've been shoving instruments where instruments don't belong. So I've not been crafting too much. So I'll crack on with that and then put a video up in group, hopefully over the weekend. Although again, should have been going away for the weekend, but it's going to be throwing it down. I am not spending 4 days in Scotland in the rain. So if you want, what I can do next week is look at, with the papers that you've got left from a collection and some of the ephemera that you've got left from a collection, is to use them up on, say, a scrapbook layout. Again, this came in this collection. Let me just see if I can. So again, if I quickly trim this down, you've got 3 bookmarks that could be used as bookmarks, or they could be used just as tags, and they are, so they've got decoration on one side, and they're not plain, but they're plain on the other side. And I'll put this. So again, and you do get lots of ephemera in your paper packs if you want to fussy cut things. Now I know fussy cutting's not for everyone, which is why I like the ephemera packs. I would probably take more time doing this, although these are all straight lines, so I know I'm okay with that. Put them out of the way. So these are upside down. If you cut around these, they can go in your little tuck spots, so one of those could just pop behind there, or if you could just literally pop it into the pocket. Again, you've got quite fancy decoration on one side and plainer decoration on the other, which you could put your photos on and things like that, and they could just tuck in there. With this one, let me finish trimming this. If you cut round this and then we're going straight up there, which I would normally do with bigger scissors. And then get your small embossing tool, pop your ruler on the lines, and then just use your embossing tool, and then again at the end of here and down these two sides. You then fold them over that way. Just and then fold on that. You actually get an envelope. Now if you don't stick it down, you can pop that on the page like that. You could, you see, it's wasted really because I like that side as well. So if you popped it down like that, you can use one of these and just tuck it inside. I would ink the edges, but again, like I say, it means you're going to be covering that up. So you could literally use that as a pocket, pop one of those in, and then perhaps just pop your pocket, your envelope, into a pocket that you've got on your book. And then with these, you will see on these two, it'll show it better here, there's a definite line down there and on that one. So exactly the same again. Just gonna use your ruler, put a score line down the middle, and then just fold that in half, and burnish that down. And again, you've got a little notebook, you can put photos in it, you could stick that on the front of a page. That could actually go inside one of your tuck spots. I would ink the edges up as well, but for speed and time I'm not doing. So they're just little notebooks. Again, you could pop that in there. As well, in this collection you've got 6, they're roughly 6 by 4, slightly shorter, so I think they're like 5 3/4 by 4 3/4. So you've got 6 more that you could use. If they're too busy for you, you can use the plainer sides. this one or these two would be nice with a photograph there, and you've still got your decoration at the side. Even there with a photograph, I think maybe a 2x3 would work. And there, or you could put your journaling on. That one's got lines if you can't write in a straight line like me, without your journaling. So I'm going to leave that there for now. As I say, next week, just because there's a lot of people away, it's the last week of the school holidays before all the children go back to school, and quite a few people have messaged me and said, oh, not going to be able to see it, not going to be able to make it. So what I'll do is, with some of the papers that I've got left from this kit and perhaps a couple of the others, she says, look at how to use those papers and make them into scrapbook layouts, and how to make, if you've got bits like that, how to make it go a little bit further. The next book, I am using Vicky Boutin's Artful Moments papers, which are gorgeous. And all being well, I will put the video of that up at the weekend at some point. So yeah, have a wonderful bank holiday weekend, everyone, if you're in the UK. Sorry Diana, you haven't got one. But have a great weekend, stay safe everyone, and I will see you all back here next Wednesday. Take care.